Eragon knelt in a bed of trampled reed grass and scanned the tracks with a practiced eye. Book 1, Eragon, Chapter 1, Discovery. Welcome to Eragon and Back Again, a podcast where we explore Christopher Paolini's inheritance cycle one chapter at a time. I'm Lucy Hart.
And I'm Darien Smartt.
And we are here to talk about the first chapter of the Eragon.
Proper.
Yes, first chapter of the Eragon series, also, I guess, more properly known as the inheritance cycle.
Like I said at
Discovery.
the first episode, I'm going to do it a lot, so please
Yep,
don't
I'm
at
same,
me.
like very much same.
Yeah, we want your feedback. We want your input. I don't want to hear you tell us that we're telling it. I know, and I will continue to make this mistake because I am 29 years old. I have actively called it the Eragon series since I was in 7th grade, gang.
Yes.
Not going to change. I will double check it in official podcasts when we're typing it out, when we're doing the promos. But in my cadence, I'm probably going to call it the Eragon series more often than not.
And like I said, I think we said this recording last one, it's interesting that Paolini called the book the inheritance cycle after the 4th book, where a lot of series usually refer to them as the first book.
Or like an unrelated term.
Yeah, something like that. So
here we are. We've gone from a magical forest battle where the participants are fighting over some sort of mysterious sapphire stone to a 15-year-old on a hunting trip.
Yep.
It's just a tone shift.
It's silent and quiet, and it's he's hunting, so he has to be silent and quiet and cautious and and it's night and there's moon. Oh, he talks about the harvest moon. So it is a bright moon. I don't know if it's necessarily blood red, because harvest moon usually just refers to the fullness of the moon, I think.
Yeah,
so,
harvest moon, it's You know, I don't know the difference between harvest moon with other moons. Maybe it is.
I think the harvest moon, is just referred to, I feel like I talked about this with somebody. The harvest moon is referred to as the harvest moon because it is large and bright, which helps the people continue the harvest even into the night. They can still see. Okay, so I don't know if it's colored or not or whatever. I could be completely wrong. Don't at me.
Here, let's look it up, because I'm wondering if it's because there's different moons throughout the year have different names. So the harvest moon refers to the full bright moon that occurs closest to the start of autumn.
Cool. So right there, in that case, we're getting a good sense of the time of year. Well, I think he already talks about that, because I think he does talk about winter at some point, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, but now know this is starting at late summer. The harvest moon is the full moon closest to the start of autumn.
Mm-hmm.
So it's late summer, early autumn.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the tone shift. Everything went from being a massive battle to not massive, but chaotic to quiet and still. And I like that in a chapter called Discovery. Eragon was 15, less than a year from manhood. And this is some high fantasy nonsense.
Yeah. The brain doesn't finish baking until we're 25.
And I get we're in fantasy medieval Europe times, as we almost always are when you do a fantasy story with dragons. I know there are some more recent stories that are not in medieval Western Europe, and I am all about reading those. And it means that all of a sudden the 16-year-old is a man. No. I've met 16-years.
No.
You should not be allowed to get on a dragon. You can't even drive a car unless it's daylight hours and you have a licensed adult driver in the vehicle with you. What do you mean we're going to let this kid get on the back of a dragon?
The back of a fire-breathing, talon-wielding, fang-bearing dragon. Yeah.
It's a magical monstrosity. You can't even get on a dirt bike. I wouldn't trust Eragon on a dirt bike.
Yeah, right? Oh my god.
And that's another just trope of the genre.
Yeah. Where it talks about a lot of the YA readers talk about like kind of like that, especially when it's like fantasy-esque in like this
Hmm.
era of like bows and arrows and magic and bows and arrows and magic. It's very much like
Hmm.
you're not a
Hmm.
man until you're 16, 18, what have you. It's like
Yeah.
freaking Lord of the Rings. Like
And
they
it's
talk, the hobbits don't age until they don't reach adulthood until they're like 30. So it's just great. Anyway.
hmm No, I think this is something we've talked about is like trying to distinguish like is this YA or like is it a kid's book? Is it middle grade? And I think like we talked about like it's being like a high fantasy book and those aren't often in this younger age demographic. And I think it's because Eragon is 15.
Mm-hmm.
Eragon is a kid. This
Yep.
is middle grade YA because the main character is 15 years old.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
even though in this world it puts him on the cusp of adulthood, in the world of the reader, he's a 15-year-old. He is
Yep.
a sophomore in high school. He is a sophomore in high school. It's just so fun revisiting these books you read as a kid or like the series
Mhm.
you watched and stuff, and then it clocking Aang is 12 years old and he has to
Yep.
stop this 100-year war. Percy Jackson is 12 years old and you want him to retrieve the lightning bolt and fight Ares?
Yeah. It's like,
Clary
oh
Frey
my
is
gosh.
15. She should be studying for finals.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, it's a lot.
These are kids.
They're all
We would
kids.
never-
And
I
then,
would never let this happen. I would
They-
not let this happen as a grown-up
Right?
responsible for a child. No.
yep. And then they go through, like,
But
these teens go through so much in like 2 years or whatever than someone in their 30s have ever gone through. And it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, you're like, oh my god, you've changed the whole world. And it's like,
Yep.
and now you're 17. Enjoy the rest of your... Talk about peaking in high school.
Yeah, no kidding. Or just like, I mean, this might be too real on like a fantasy world, but the freaking trauma of having, I mean, like, not to necessarily like weave in a bunch of different areas, but like Steven Universe does a really good job at that, where he's this child
Mhm.
and saves the literal universe. And then it's like, okay, now you have to live a normal life. And he's like, but what do are you, are you sure?
Yeah, people
Like, are
don't
you sure
need
I don't
me
have
anymore?
anything? Yeah, you don't.
My whole
need
life has
me?
been everyone needing me.
Yeah, and now I'm told they don't need me anymore. Like, what is happening? So, I mean, like, I feel like we don't, in a lot of these books, we don't necessarily look at that a lot. We don't, in Eragon, we do not at all. Like, spoilers, when the last book ends, like, we don't see what happens after this such high stake, high trauma situation. And we don't know what happens after that. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's like,
long. Whoa, yeah,
yeah.
inevitable.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's also just part of the genre. It's not a specific attack against this book or Paolini's writing. It is just what happens in these books. And
Yep.
it's just when I was a kid reading it in 7th grade, I'm like 12, 13, and I'm like, hell yeah, dragon, let's go. And
Yep.
now I'm 29, and I'm like, no, Eragon, you shouldn't be responsible for your family. What do you mean? Because nothing we learned about Eragon is that he talks about how, I mean, he also describes dark eyebrows rested above his intense brown eyes. His clothes
Yep.
were worn from work. A hunting knife with a bone handle was sheathed at his belt, and a buckskin tube protect his yew bow from the mist. He carried a wood frame pack.
Yep.
So we get that description, which is fine. It's whatever. I won't go into that again. I did that in the prologue. But he talks about how he's following this deer deep into the spine, a range of untamed mountains that extended up and down the land of Allegasia. So hey, we have what this land is called.
Yep.
We have names.
Yep. We have Allegasia, and I have always loved the name Spine for mountains. That's just, I don't know why. It just
Yeah.
fits right to me, and I'm like, yes, I love this. That's really good. And I'm like, if it wasn't already taken, that is definitely something that I would use for mountain ranges in my book because it's just so cool. I love that name
It's
so much.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Just real quick, I want to talk a little bit about, we didn't talk about this in the prologue, but Luce, you just pointed out before we started recording this one, there's a map at the beginning of the book.
Yes. It's such a good map. Like, it just, I
Mm-hmm.
really think it gives us the scale. Because I actually remember, like, when I first bought my book, it came with this map. And I think I had it hanging in my room for a really long time while I was reading these books. And it let me, like, track where they were going as I was reading these books. And then as I was reading, and then also when I was listening to them, because I guess, like, we can talk about that when we get in the second one. I couldn't read the second one, so I started getting them on CD.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Regardless, while I was listening to them, I would follow them, and it was for me, it helped me visualize how big this world actually is, because they talk about how,
Mm-hmm.
just traveling from one point to another, and you're like, "Oh, that's like an inch on this map," but then it takes them like weeks, and you're like, "Whoa, okay, this world is like a lot bigger than I thought it was." So it's kind of really cool
Yeah.
in that regard. And we don't even get this whole world. We get this area of it, cuz this is just part of a, if we want to, like, if we're assuming there's continents on this world, where this is just one part of a continent, and then an island. Like, that's all we're looking at. That's all we know. And so it's like, this world is
Yeah.
gigantic, and it's just so cool that it comes with that.
It is. Yeah. And I think it also reflects a lot in the readership, because there are certain books that have maps. Are they usually the high fantasy ones? Yes, they are. Later editions of Camp Half-Blood books will have the map of Camp Half-Blood, but not right out the gate usually. Like,
Mhm.
it's a certain kind of book that has a map. And I think, listen, when you open up a book and you see a map at the beginning, if you're a reader, it says a lot about who you are, not as a person, but as a reader, I think. Are you jazzed as hell? Hell yeah, there's a map. Or are you, oh no, there's a map, and like, look at this guy. Like,
Yeah.
there's two types of readers. The ones who are like, hell yeah, map, and ones who are like, hard pass.
Yep.
And neither is right or wrong. I just, when you pointed out and we both got real excited, map, 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 map.
Yep. And
It was just fun. I'm excited to do the show with you, Luz.
yes, definitely. And, like, I don't know. I just like that the map. Again, I like the maps because, again, it's just, and because, like, it was also cool because it would be like they would mention, "Oh, we're in this place," and then I would go to the map and I'd try to find it, and I'm like, "Oh, it's right there. That's where they are." And it was just cool to have that visual with me while I was enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is helpful. I'll admit, I'm excited about maps. Rarely do you describing that you like will follow the map. That's so delightful and charming. I've never done that. I've just decided there's a map, and maybe sometimes I'll be like, if I reread the book, I'll look at the map again and be like, oh yeah, they go here later. Oh yeah, they go here later. But I do not reference the map while I am reading. I am on
Yeah.
it. I'm not a good navigator, all right?
I
Don't
know.
have me in charge of the map. I'm not going to look at it. I'm in the moment.
No worries. No, I just really like that. But in this case, like, we were like
Mhm.
placed right into the spine, and like we can see, like, on the map, there's the spine. It's right
Mhm.
there. And then, not jumping so ahead, but the next chapter is called Palancar Valley, and like we can see that also on the map, like next to the spine. So we know exactly kind of where we are when we look at it, and it's just really cool like that.
It is cool. So we're in the spine, and the text says, strange tales and men often came from those mountains, usually boding ill. Despite that, Eragon did not fear the spine. He was the only hunter near Caraval who dared track game deep within its craggy recesses. So we learned something about Eragon.
Yep.
He's either brave or very foolhardy. As we will learn, it is both.
Yes. I was like, or both. Both is good. Yes, it's very much,
Both is good.
yeah, very much the same, or very much both in that situation. That, again, we just learn throughout the entire Aragon series.
Yeah. And another thing we learned immediately, his next paragraph talks about how, like, his food is half gone. He's been hunting for 3 nights. He has to fell the doe, or he would be forced to return home empty-handed. And that's just, like, not an option. It's not even like he's hunting for fun or for, like, profit or anything. His family needed that meat for the rapidly approaching winter and could not afford to buy it in Caraval. Okay, Eragon. Eragon, you're at the harvest moon, which means the full moon closest to the beginning of autumn. Now, winter is approaching, yes, but you do have a couple of months. Unless, well, how high north is he? Hold on. I
Like,
mean, we don't know
the
how big. This is
highest.
the continent. But Caravel is, he is pretty high. So winter probably comes pretty early for.
And
Or,
they're
yeah.
also like,
Yeah. Right, so he's got to get this meat quick.
Yeah, it's like high up, and he's also like in a valley. So I mean, we're in a valley, so I don't. We're in a desert
Yeah,
valley, which
but
is
it's
much different than a mountain valley.
yeah. Also, it's 2023, and we have grocery stores, so I ain't
Yeah,
worried.
that's fair. That's also true.
But we learn another thing is that he comes from, and we see this in the description, his clothes being worn, but the fact that his family can't afford to buy meat. This is not just like food for a celebration. This is survival. We know he
Mm-hmm.
comes from a very poor family. They don't have a lot of like financial security or stability.
Yep.
And Eragon at 15, we talked about earlier, he's a kid, and while even in the context of the book, he's approaching manhood, but he is not considered a man yet, and that he
Yep.
already has this immense responsibility on his shoulders says
Yep.
a lot.
Yep. Agreed. And that was something that I thought that I just kind of clocked as well, was that because he's hunting and because he's not considered an adult yet, and he's doing these things, and he's been gone for 3 nights hunting this one doe. It just really shows that,
3 nights!
yeah, and it just shows that his family's poor. And so I think that is a really good intro in how he approaches this weird ass stone that just quote stone that just appears out of nowhere. I feel like it really tracks with what
Yeah.
he's like, his approach to it and his view on it and just how he interacts with it. I think that has a lot. He's like, well, this is weird, I'm gonna sell it. Like, that's it, just makes sense.
Yeah. Do you want to read how the stone comes into his possession? Because I also love this, like, this scene too. It's so funny.
It is the scene how it comes in.
You can't read it. You don't have a book.
I don't have a
That's
book.
right. I keep forgetting you are audiobook. You don't have a book.
I am audiobook. I can't, like, I could listen.
You can just describe it. You just listen to it.
I could just listen
no, you're
to
fine.
it. And,
you can just describe what you remember.
I just know,
It's
like,
fine.
so you're good. So he's approaching this doe with, like, about ready to, like, fell it, I guess would be the right word. And then an explosion just comes out of nowhere, and all the deer flee, and he tries to shoot. That was something that I thought, instead of reacting to this explosion like, oh my god, what is that, he jumps forward to shoot the bow, to shoot the deer anyway. And so again, that kind of does where his priorities are. His priorities are getting meat home for his family. And then once he's like, okay, deer is gone, that's when he turns, and then he draws the bow against this, like, foe, quote foe, that he doesn't know what it is. And then he sees this stone. And what I really like about, what I think is just so funny about this scene is the way it's described is almost like the script of a movie, because it's like the stone is nestled in this, like, crater, and there's, like, mist swirling around it and, like, you know, creating patterns across its surface. And I just feel like it's so movie. Like, you could see that in a cinema, like, so easy. Like, it's so funny.
Cinematic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, visually it is so striking, and I love, like, Eragon, like, hangs back for, like, a couple of minutes, like, watching this, like, crater, this stone. He's like, what? And when it's like, okay, everything seems chill, he, like, climbs down, and then moonlight cast him in a pale shadow as he stopped before the stone. He nudged it with an arrow, then jumped back.
Yep.
And I just started. It's so funny. Like, it's so goofy.
Yeah.
15-year-old, I'm just gonna poke it and jump back. Like, what?
I'm gonna poke it, jump back, and it did explode. And so he's like, I'm gonna poke it.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing happened. Okay, we're good.
Okay, and then nothing happens, so he just picks
And then he just picks it up.
Full on picks it up.
Yep.
We get the detailed description. Nature had never polished a stone as smooth as this one. Its flawless surface was dark blue, except for the thin veins of white that spiderwebbed across it. The stone was cool and frictionless under his fingers, like hardened silk. Oval and about a foot long, it weighed several pounds, though felt lighter than it should have. And so that's, like, the stone's mentioned in the prologue, but this is the first time we get a clear view of it.
Yep.
Again, as we said last episode, should have just said it's a dragon egg and then let Eragon describe it as a stone. Like, let's do this, but I digress.
Yep. No, I agree. It's very much like, if they had mentioned it was an egg, then it's like, oh, Eragon finds this weird stone, and it's just like, we know it's not a stone, but yeah, we just continue with the stone narrative. And for me, I feel like I do remember reading this and being like, nature had never like smoothed a stone this like what flawless or whatever, and me being in the back of my head like because it's not a stone, and then it's like dark blue veins,
Yeah.
it was dark blue with thin veins of white, and I'm like because it's a dragon egg, and like just that back of my head being
This is
like
an
because
egg.
it's an egg,
Yeah.
because it's an egg, because it's an egg,
It's an egg. Mm-hmm.
just like in the back of my head the whole time I read it.
Yeah, I think, as we said before, like, just letting the reader outright know it's an egg, but Aragon would reasonably not know that and think it's just a big blue, like, valuable sapphire stone. I think that almost sets the reader in for a more not comfortable, but focused reading experience, because there's not that thing in the back of your head being like, it's this, it's this, it's this, because that's not really a mystery.
Yeah.
Since you know what the plot of the book is about, that's real obvious. And so you're just waiting for it to be confirmed, so we'll stop calling it a stone.
Yep.
But if you know, like you said before, if you know you're let in on this little secret, you can be like, "Oh, Eragon, wait till you find out."
Yeah, you'd be cackling along with the author almost, like ha ha ha, I can't wait till he finds out what this is.
But it is a wonderful description, and I
Mhm.
like Eragon is like a little freaked out, like, what is this? Where did it come from? But I think this other thought he has also tells you a lot about this poor boy from a financially struggling family who has to like take care of the people around him. Was it sent here by accident, or am I meant to have it?
Yep.
And I think that just, because we already know he's like brave, he's determined, maybe he's foolhardy. He comes from a place with that's not a lot of resources. But I think with that line, we also know that something inside of him longs for more. The idea that he could even consider, maybe I'm supposed to have this. Maybe this was sent here for a purpose that I am a part of. Lets the reader know that this character is someone who is ready to, like, the call to action has come and the hero will go. Like, he is ready. He wants more. And I think, like, this is really strong writing right out the gate, telling us so much about our protagonist without listing off those things, just in his thoughts, in his actions, in delivering facts of the world. Because we aren't told Eragon is brave and feels responsible for his family. We just know he doesn't fear the spine. He's going to go in there to hunt for his family who needs the meat for winter because they can't afford it. Bet. Like, it's well done, and we get in this first chapter, though not a lot happens, and it is very small or very short. It tells us so much about this kid that we're going to follow for the rest of the series and watch him grow from this point. And I think that is remarkably well crafted.
I very much agree. And again, like, we also get the fact that he cares for his family. Like, he's been gone 3 nights to like hunt, and he basically came up with nothing. He was following this doe for 3 nights, and I still, like, just like what you mentioned earlier, he's just so determined to do this for his family. And then when he only gives up like that because he's like, oh, he needs to be getting ready to head back. His his food's coming low, like it's not really great. And then the deer gets away, but then he has this stone, and he's like, okay, well, I can let the doe go now because I have this stone which I can sell. And then that's when he turns back and decides, okay, I'm gonna head home. And I just think, again, that shows a lot to like his character and who he is. Again, like, just right out the bait, like, again, like, Paolini doesn't tell us like, oh, he cares for his family because he's going to sell this, or he doesn't like tell us, he shows us. And that's like huge when you're writing, showing, not telling.
Yeah. I think it is a good point, because even though that, like, he thinks like maybe I'm supposed to have it, but he ultimately decides like, well, it might pay for some food. So even though this character is as this inkling of like wanting something more, he's still prioritizing his family. Like I said, it's been 3 days, his food is half gone. He's got to get back home. His food will only last long enough for him to probably get home. So it's time to track back. Yep.
It's really good.
I think, it's a very strong, like, that's our first proper chapter. And I say not much happened. Kind of a big thing happens. This kid hunting in the woods finds a magical egg, or magical stone.
And it just, like, falls out of the sky or whatever.
Yeah, because in my brain I'm picturing, did it comet down? Or no, because our elven lady, we know she used magic to, like, teleport it somewhere. So this isn't just appearing.
Yeah, it just appears.
And like, that's interesting. Yep. Why did she just send it into the middle of the woods and this like Eragon kid just happened to be there? That seems wild for something so valuable. What's up, babe?
Yeah, agreed. Like, again, like going back to what I mentioned earlier in our first episode where I hadn't read the prologue. So this was my first inkling into the Eragon series.
Oh, that's
and
right.
And I had no idea where this egg came from, and I had no idea anything about it. And so it was just interesting for me to like jump in and be like, okay, I have no idea what happened to this egg and like where it came from, or I guess stone that I wouldn't know because I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had an inkling about it, but I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know. And so it was just cool. Like I didn't know the strife attached to this stone and how it came here. Like I didn't know that it was sent by this woman sacrificing herself to get it to safety. So it was like, I had no idea. And then that was like, when I went back and read it again, I was actually like, oh, I'm actually kind of glad I didn't read the prologue because it would have kind of spoiled the little things for me that I just didn't know. And so that was my take on it. But I was very good all over. I just really do like this. The whole prologue, discovery, all of it. Very good.
Discovery. Yeah, it's a really strong start to this series. And it's interesting because when you like very, very, very rarely does I think any reader pick up a book and literally jump in totally blind. Like you read the back, which will tell you some degree, or maybe a friend is like, here, read this book. You'll like it because X, Y, Z. Like I'm reading a book right now. It's called The House in the Cerulean Sea. Mostly I picked it up because someone recommended it to me. Well, okay. So my girlfriend says it was her favorite book when we started hanging out. So I was like, okay, I'm going to need to read this because I want to get to know her better. So I'm going to read her favorite book. And it is very, it's just like, she also like gave me the pitch and the vibe. It's like, it's like a magical world. It's queer. And I'm like all about that. And then I started reading it. And I'm like, okay, I didn't expect this. And then last night when I was putting it down, I actually read the back of the book for the first time. And I was like, whoa, what? Secrets?
Yeah.
Arthur's got a secret? What?
Yep. Yeah.
So there are some times where it's like, so I think, my long-winded point being, you don't pick up Eragon not knowing it's a dragon egg, right?
Yeah.
You don't pick up not knowing what's going to happen, even if you don't read the back of the book. The cover's got a dragon on it, like you said, Luce. So there's some degree of, there's always some degree of like the very nature of a book itself, the physical book itself, the act of being given a book to read means there are certain mysteries that just will not exist for the reader.
Yep. Agreed.
I don't think I have anything else for this chapter.
I was like, I don't really know. We've literally hit all points. It's very short.
Perfect. It's short, but I think both of them get me like excited to keep reading. And I haven't read these books in so very long. Like I think I read them a lot through like elementary school or middle school and early high school until the last one came out. And I think I read them all one more time after that. And then I like did donate them in my like late teens. I think it was like 19. I donated them to like a secondhand shop. And because I donated a lot of my books I was moving. And so I haven't read them in, I would say, a decade. So this has me really excited to like, let's go. Like I know the big points, but I don't remember a lot of the finer details, and I'm super jazzed to do that. So let's do it. I'm
very much same. I used to read them, or I guess listen to them fairly regularly, and then I just stopped at some point because it was so much. Like the patience Paulini had to have to write these books is absolutely like amazing. Like I do not have the patience to write, and that's where I struggle with my writing is just like all the detail work, and I'm like, oh my god. But it's super cool that he just had the patience and just all of it. So yes, I'm excited to go through all the books again with you. I'm very excited.
Perfect. Well, shall we continue this conversation next week?
Yes, we shall.
Thank you, listeners, so much for joining us again. If you've got anything, any feedback, any thoughts, let us know. We want to hear from everybody. Hit us up on Instagram at EragonPod or shoot us an email to eragonpod@gmail.com. Until next time, she is Lucy Hart.
And she is Darien Smartt.
And this has been Eragon.
And back again.